Go, David, go.
Well, yeah, sorry, no, I just had this thing that said, do you want to stay in the studio? And I was like, I think I do. I mean, I am going live. Sometimes I do wonder about like the things that pop up on my screen when I am trying to do something. Well, welcome back, everybody. It is Thursday morning. It is Thursday, right? Yes, it's Thursday. And so it's been a heck of a week. Ashley's been sailing away, and I have been finishing up the Slack integration. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we're also going to talk about some of the really cool things that you can do with MCP servers, some of the future looking opportunities for Linda, and mostly around the architecture. So it's not going to be a sales thing. It's just going to be about how you can implement these really cool new systems and connect things that you wouldn't normally be able to do. And mostly around technology. So if you're interested in learning about building MCP servers, setting them up so that you can kind of function in the new way that the world is going to be, because this is going to be how things work. And so we're going to go through that. And then Ashley's going to give us a quick little update on what she was doing in LinkedIn. And she's also going to let me talk for a bit so she can wake up, right, Ashley?
Sounds about right. Wake up. I've been up for, 5 hours at this point.
She was messaging me at 6 a.m. this morning when I still had my eye mask on with Sound of the World Asleep. So
yeah, my coffee's run out of my system now.
Yeah, that sucks. I was thinking about that this morning, like just how nice it is for the first like this much of the coffee, because you can feel it, and then after that the second and third cups are just diminishing returns, and so that's less than ideal. But the first cup was good, which is nice. Okay, so as you all may know, I have been working on a Slack integration. So it is alive. Show you some stuff here. It is alive, but Ashley, I am the edge case, because when we built it, or I should say when I built it, when I built it the same way we have it email, organization user tied to Linda. Well, the problem with Slack is if you look at my actual profile, I'm going to give this away because you're going to get my email. My Slack email is my other company, Safety Evolution's email. So that doesn't quite work when you have one email tied to one organization, and that's your ID. So because Slack handles that differently, we're going to have to do a little upgrade, which I've been kind of working on this morning, just to get us in alignment. So you're going to run into the same thing, Ashley, because I'm pretty sure you got invited into Slack with your Safety Evolution email. And
no, I wisely updated that probably a year ago. Something forced me. I remember it's my RQ email now.
How did you update it?
There was some issue I was having with Slack, and when I was trying to, maybe connect like a new app in.
Yeah.
Anyway, I switched it to the RQ email at that time.
So you can actually go into the Slack interface, and you can change your.
Yeah, I do recall though. Email. Yeah, when I did it though, I'm pretty sure I got locked out of like the Safety Evolution space on my phone. I had to add stuff in, like it wasn't a smooth transition from memory, but it could have changed.
Well, we're all about making it smooth and making it easy for people. So I sure as heck don't want someone to have to change their email just to use Linda. So this is kind of the build we're working on. And so any of you that are kind of ever wondering about how we build, this is it. Always start with our So I actually created these technical requirement docs and project requirement docs, and I just come in here into ChatGPT. It's connected into our GitHub repo or repos, and I always just say, hey, put your hat on as a CTO and as a product owner, and give me your feedback on this project. And then I'll go back and forth between it and Cursor using different models so that I can just try and find the edge cases, try and find the issues that might be. And then once we have it, we'll build out our Jira cards, and then we will develop the whole thing with agents. And so this first iteration of Slack only took about, I think, 2.5 days really to build and to debug. And would have been faster if my computer hadn't died, but that's a whole nother story. So that's kind of like how we build. So if you ever want to get that, we have a download that I've created a SOP for how to do this. So if you are a technical founder, non-technical founder, you're an entrepreneur, you want to build software and you want to understand how we're doing it, put a message, put a comment, and we'll send it over to you. And then the other thing that we did, which I think is really interesting for everybody to start considering, so the architecture around Linda is that she is built LLM first. And what that means to us is that it's actually a MCP engine, we'll say. And so it connects to resources that we have. It can connect into your Gmail. It has tool calling. But what we're really looking at with these protocols in the future as being super powerful is the ability for us to connect to other companies' MCP. So an example would be, we could use Slack as an MCP server instead of using the interface like we have it here, where you can actually chat with Linda. You could connect Linda into Slack, and you could be in Linda and you could say, hey, can you tell me what's going on in my sales channel? And then it would use that as a resource through the MCP server that Slack has built. And so just think that when you're using another company's MCP server, they have tool calling, they have functionality, all of that built into it. So what your LLM is actually doing is just using this protocol to say, hey, I need to do this in your system. And then because the system has that server already set up, it's able to do all that work. So the big difference between like the old APIs, and God knows we've heard this a million times, oh yeah, we API into our competitors or into our the other softwares that you work with, and then the API doesn't work. Why? Because every API has to be set up specifically to do a task. Send this here, do this, that, you know what I mean? That type of stuff. So this is going to be really super cool technology, because what it's going to do is allow you to have this MCP layer with tool calling. So it's like a smart agent that sits in your software and allows all kinds of things to happen in there. And then we can plug into that through our protocol, and all of a sudden we add all of that functionality onto Linda. So when you start to think in the future where you say, hey, Linda, I need you to create this for me, it goes, oh, cool. Do you want me to use Canva? Connects into Canva's MCP server, does all the functioning. Because if you go in Canva right now, you can natural language process and get anything you want built pretty much. That's the power of having this type of architecture. And so what I did last night, and I know I scared Ashley a little bit, I went through and did a deep research on all the companies that actually have these servers set up. So in a very short period of time, you could put, Linear, you could put Monday, you can already see HubSpot because OpenAI's ChatGPT, you can connect into them. Salesforce, there's like community ones. The ones that I thought were interesting is Stripe and QBO, but this is using aggregator to actually do it. So this will be an interesting one. These guys are trying to position themselves similar to Zapier as an integration tool. And I think they've got hundreds already set up that you can use, that you can click in. And so you can click into them. Notion, Ashley, I know you were interested in Notion.
Notion.
So that would be an interesting one, and some other ones. So like Google Docs and Slack and Microsoft Teams, and then social. This was the one that I thought was really neat. So Figma. Oh, I was playing with Figma on the weekend, and their natural language prompting interface build tool. Do you know how I showed it to you like 4 months ago, and it was kind of like janky, but it still was impressive? Oh my God. It is next level. I took the Lynda interface and I said, I want to do this, this, and this. And it just went poof, and it was done. And I'm like, oh my God.
Like, just based on, remember what I was doing in Canva?
Yeah.
Making website animation, and how easy that was. Like, what? In 5 minutes, sorry, in 2 prompts, I went, okay, I can do something. And within 20 minutes, I had something ready for the website. If Canva can do that,
yeah,
I imagine Figma in the last couple of months.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, and Figma already has all your design, like all your base to go off of. Which for the rest of you, that means the design files that you're using to create your software. So I will use language that actually makes sense. So Canva, Figma, and then this one, see, aggregators got this one again. Ashley, this is for like social media. So imagine if you like had Lynda be able to say, hey, can you take this from here and I just make me 3 posts on this and schedule them out for the next 3 days. And then she just goes and runs that process through here and puts it in. And so you know how you have like all of those workflows built in N8N? Those are going to be, I would say that type of workflow building has probably another 12 months before you start to see these intelligent MCP servers just take over, because you know how you have to connect everything and it has to be just perfect. It's this tech is going to be what actually just makes all that stuff go away. It'll be the next big aha moment for designers and developers and technology, I think. And so if you're an investor and you're watching this, watch that space.
That's huge, because
nobody in it is safe.
And as somebody who's built an N8N, one of the hardest things is getting your like authorization set up for example, Google, to get access to the Google Drive to use in a workflow. I just remember, because it's not I think you have to go into Google Console, which was someplace I never went.
Yeah.
You have to find your way around. You have to set up a project. To be honest, that was so intimidating. And then I went, I'm going to pause. I need help with this. And luckily I had access to a technical person to walk me through. And that was just one authorization I had to set up out of, I don't know, in that one workflow, is probably 4 others. Would have been Slack, would have been OpenAI. Once you have them set up, you're good for your next workflows. But that was hard. Moving around a place that I've never seen before. And they give you instructions, but my gosh.
Well, remember like trying to put memory onto remember when you were trying to get it so that it could, you were trying to build those posts and you were trying to get memory on it.
Yeah.
And so then you had to go create a database and you had to do all this stuff like
Supabase.
Yeah. And so it's interesting how fast this technology is moving, because when we say remember when, we're talking about 5 months ago, for the record. That's when remember when is. And we started building, just for the record, another one, April 23rd is when we started building Lynda AI. So 4.5 months ago. And have this type of technology, this type of functionality and value this early just shows you what you can do with these tools, how you can build, how you can be strategic, and how the game has just totally changed. And I think we're rolling into one of the most incredible shakeups in the way that companies get to operate since, like, I don't know, the telephone, maybe paper, the printing press. This is going to be a big one. Cool, Ash. So tell me a little bit about what's going on LinkedIn. How's the sales going? I saw that your 25K post just is on fire.
Yes, that was great. Conversations started off that post, which was amazing. Like a couple of people who just, again, they know about Linda. They're not ready. That's okay. They're in the pipeline. I'll get them moving at some point, but they're engaging. They're curious. They ask more questions. So that post was great. And then I was checking to see if we had a meeting because I booked yesterday I booked, I think, 5 meetings, a couple customer ones, which I've been striving for all week. We try to talk to everybody minimum bi-weekly, if not weekly to start, anybody who comes on. But yeah, 3 founders booked chats with, one very interested in what we're doing, another person who just noticed we started up Linda. It's been in our network for a while, caught their eye. And so having a coffee and catch up. And then another person who, one of the things, been building a network of founders for a while. And some of them I engage with, and some of them I haven't had time. So I've been going back through to see who's active on LinkedIn and then engaging because it's another founder. They're generally in the tech space. I'm going to learn something. So I spend time doing that each day. And then, booked immediately, like a conversation within 10 minutes with another founder based in Canada. Woo woo.
Nice.
And see what comes of it.
Nice.
Booking meetings early on.
Booking meetings.
Every conversation's a great conversation. You never know who's in somebody's network as well.
I have a lot of, I get a lot of sales outreach, and we were kind of going through those numbers, but it's funny how many, I'm like, oh yeah, can you tell me about how your campaign's actually working? They're like, yeah, if you jump into a 30-minute meeting. And my net, just so you know, my response these days is I'm not doing any meetings unless you're a customer until we hit 1 million ARR. And so you don't get 30 minutes of my time to talk about numbers so you can try and sell me a product that I'm not your ICP for. Here's some advice. If you're in the chat and you're talking to somebody, qualify them before you try and get them into a meeting. We're like, I told them,
run a really good list. Just run a really good list.
But even you should qualify people before you book a meeting. Quit booking meetings for the sake of booking meetings. You don't need to book a meeting. Just freaking qualify them. If they're a good fit, then chat with them. If not, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. I do, though. I saw this one the other day. I forget which company. They're just killing it. But her whole thing was they got to their first 100 customers cold email.
Yeah.
But she's adamant. She said, "What? Yeah, the email for sure." She's like, "I put a lot of time into the sequence, but building the list, nobody builds the list properly. And if you spend time building your list, which for me, that's if somebody's not active on LinkedIn and they're a founder, that's not a good. And then again, how big's the company? Where are they at?" So before I go, I don't know. That's my list building today.
I think that's actually a really, really good point, because I think sometimes in our rush to do things, we don't put enough effort into the point where effort really has a huge inflection point on the outcome of what you're doing. If you just take a spray and pray idea, right? Like you're just like, I'm going to get 4,000 founders, and you don't care, you don't look, you don't check. You probably have 3,000 of them that would never buy your product and are never even going to answer you. And if you took your time and you just like cleaned it out, you'd probably get these incredible numbers because you'd have a really specific message, you'd have a really specific offer, you would understand them and they would be the right people. And you'd probably see, 3-4 times the return on the investment versus, and that's interesting when you think about, because you know how we were having the conversations about how do we actually get more leads out of the activities that we have automated, right? You get 5. Okay. But if you did something like that where you get more specific in your list, right? Like, for instance, if you're sending out cold outreach on LinkedIn, right? And you send me a cold outreach that says our ideal customer is 2 million to 20 million ARR. What part of my profile tells you that I'm your ideal customer? Because, man, and then you go into like 4 canned email or 4 canned messages, and I can tell you right now. So I've asked this question to probably 6 people doing that to me, and you should all know that I've never ever actually bought one of those. And the most I ever respond is to try and see if these people are just wasting their time or if there's something that I'm missing, because I always want to be curious and I always want to know if I'm wrong about something. Their percentages through to conversation, but none of them can tell you what the close rates are. Mm-hmm. So they'll say, yeah, we get 8 out of 100 talk to us. Okay, cool. How many of those close? Because that's the only number that matters. I don't care how many of them accept. It's just a vanity metric, right? It's just like you and I were talking yesterday as well, where we were saying what's impressions on a post doesn't matter to us. What matters is, did you come and did you go to our actual profile? So are we seeing our profile come up? And if you did, what we want to know, the metric we really want to know is, out of how many people visiting our profile, how many of them turn into a customer? Because if it's 1 in 1,000, what can we do to take it to 2 in 1,000, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever those things, because it's the conversion. The real conversion rate is when they give you money, and that's what you need to focus on, not the rest of the vanity stupid shit. So that's my rant for the morning.
Okay, got a meeting coming up. Ready?
Cool. See you, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day. Like, follow.